This is part of the series of podcasts titled Identity by Karthik Shivkumar. The identity we are dealing with is that of Jesus born of Mary, the hero of the Christian Gospels, who has been identified as Lucifer, the devil, by Pundit Shivkumar a few decades ago. Every action, every sentence, and every word uttered by Mary Jesus in the so-called Gospels is consistent with this identity. Needless to say, this identity is crucial to understanding the Bible and its diabolical author. Podcast number 1, The Last Supper. The scene of the Last Supper is no different in revealing the identity of Jesus, born of Mary. The hero in this scene is Judas Iscariot, who became the synonym of betrayal. But how can anyone betray the embodiment of deceit that is Mary Jesus? How can anyone betray the devil himself? Is it possible? In this podcast, I examine the role of Judas Iscariot in the act of crucifixion. Let us dive deep into the specific passages found in John chapter 13. During his Last Supper, Jesus shocked his apostles by saying, "Very truly I tell you, one of you is going to betray me." The disciples looked at one another, completely puzzled about whom he meant. Verses 21 and 22. The sentence, "the disciples looked at one another, completely puzzled about whom he meant," shows that Judas had not yet betrayed Jesus to the Jewish authorities. It sounds as if the story of Judas' betrayal has been skewed from the start. However, let us scrutinize the scene further. One of his disciples, the one Jesus loved, was at the table to the right of Jesus in a place of honor. So Simon Peter gestured to this disciple to ask Jesus who it was he was referring to. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved leaned back against Jesus' chest and asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus replied, "It is the one to whom I will give this piece of bread after I have dipped it in the dish." Then he dipped the piece of bread in the dish and gave it to Judas Iscariot, Simon's son. And after Judas took the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "What you are about to do, do quickly." Now none of those present at the table understood why Jesus said this to Judas. John 13 verses 23 to 28. First of all, by not mentioning the name of the betrayer, and saying, "One of you is going to betray me," Jesus puts the spotlight on each and every apostle at the table as the suspect. Seeing the disciple whom Jesus loved, namely John, sitting next to Jesus, Peter secretly gestured to him. When John grasped the meaning of the nonverbal communication of Peter, the Bible says John leaned back again on Jesus' chest. But why? To whisper the question in Jesus' ear so that no one else at the table could hear their communication. In his reply to John, Jesus did not mention the name Judas. Instead he said, "It is the one to whom I will give this piece of bread after I have dipped it in the dish." Why did Jesus choose to omit Judas' name when he said this to John? If Jesus had told the name of Judas to John, the latter would have immediately informed this to Peter, because it is upon Peter's request that he asked Jesus the initial question, "Who would betray you?" Jesus did not want the apostles to know it is Judas who would get him arrested and subsequently liquidate him, as he knew the moral indignation of the apostles would provoke a backlash against Judas. Therefore, Jesus made sure that Judas will be away by the time the apostles get to know it is Judas whom he meant as the betrayer. What Jesus actually did was that he let John know that Judas is the betrayer and expediently separated Judas from John and the others at the table. Now, let us visualize the same from Judas's perspective. Was Judas aware of what Peter was communicating by gestures to John? Did Judas hear John asking, or rather whispering in Jesus' ear, "Who is it to betray you?" No. For if he had any idea that John and Jesus were talking about him, he would not have accepted the bread given to him by Jesus. So when Judas saw Jesus coming towards him, he did not know that Jesus was signaling to John that he was the betrayer. When Judas saw Jesus coming to him with a piece of bread in his hand, in all likelihood he was thinking of Jesus' glaring words in John 6 verse 51, "The bread that I will give him is my flesh, which I give so that the world may live." But, in the Last Supper scene, when someone actually takes the bread, it is Satan that enters into him. So he took a piece of bread, dipped it, and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. As soon as Judas took the bread, Satan entered into him, John 13 verses 26 to 27. It is Satan who enters a person that actually receives the bread given to him by Jesus. This so happens for the reason that Jesus and Satan are one and the same. As Jesus and Satan are identical, Satan automatically takes over without disguise when someone partakes of the bread materialized as his own body by Jesus by the use of his formula, "This is my body."